Good morning, Amy.
Morning.
Right on time as always.
Yes, of course.
Did you get the agenda I sent through last night?
Yes, I did.
Excellent. So, let's run through it together, shall we?
Okay.
The first item is to follow up on the agreed action items from our last coaching session. And then we're going to focus on filling your prospect pipeline so you can achieve your net new money ambition with new clients. And then finally agree on some concrete actions. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Is there anything else you'd like to cover today?
No, I think what you've proposed is fine.
Shall we start then?
Okay.
Great. I see you brought a copy of your CBD coaching log, so let's run through what was agreed at our last coaching session to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay. Well, I've set myself a net new money ambition of 15 million from new clients, and I've already gotten 10 so far, which leaves me with 40 million to go. I've also defined my ideal prospect so that I'm targeting at the right people.
And the agreed actions?
To review and refine my prospect list, and to use the prospect calculator to work out my prospecting goals for the rest of the year.
So how did you do with reviewing the prospect list?
Good. I've refined my prospect list from 49 prospects down to 28, but they're of a much better quality. And well, it made me realize that I've been spending a lot of time on the wrong prospects.
And how did you do with the prospect calculator?
Oh, no problem. I've got the printout right here. I entered my net new money numbers, factored in an average deal size of about 2 mil, and an overall conversion rate of 40%, and voila. An additional 22 new prospects, and I hit my ambition.
How confident are you of achieving this?
Fairly confident. Now that I'm targeting the right people, the deal size and conversion rate looks fine, but
Go on.
But it takes me an average of 9 months to convert a prospect to a client, which means that I'll have to find these 22 prospects within the next couple of months. So to be honest, I'm not 100% confident there.
Let's focus on that now. What I'd like to understand is what you're doing to generate prospects. What's working well, what isn't working well, and what barriers you're facing. Then let's explore options to overcome those barriers and come up with some new ideas to generate more prospects. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
So, tell me the kind of prospecting activities that you've done so far.
Well, the usual things, networking, UBS sponsored events, and asking my established clients for referrals.
Very good. What's the most effective?
Client referrals, definitely. Word of mouth referrals are hard to beat. And my conversion rate is very good, it's around 60%.
Do you come across any roadblocks?
Not really. I have about 14 clients who have done pretty well over the last few years, so they're always happy to refer to me.
And how many referrals did they generate?
Last year, they referred 15 prospects to me, and I've already converted 6 of those to clients.
That's excellent. But what about the other clients? You have 31 existing relationships. What about the other 17?
Well, most of them have been my clients for less than 12 months, so I haven't asked them yet.
Okay. So what else is working well?
UBS events were good, especially the investment seminars. Last year, I generated 12 prospects from 3 events, which is okay, but I think I can do better.
What's holding you back?
Well, quite simply, I don't think I'm getting enough people to come to these events. The acceptance rate is very low.
Who do you normally invite?
Everyone on my prospect list.
And what's the average take-up rate?
Oh, I'm lucky if I can get 10%.
I'm sure we can improve this. Let's go on to networking. How's that going for you?
Really well. I'm getting good results from my golf club and my business contacts. I would say about 2 prospects a month.
That's good. Any barriers here?
Not really. I've always been good at networking, so no issues there.
All right. Is there anything else you've been doing to generate prospects?
Well, not so much generating prospects, but there are still those 12 clients from my old bank, which I'm working on moving to UBS.
Oh, how's that progressing?
Slowly. I thought I would have most of them on board by now, but it's taking longer than I expected.
What's slowing you down?
I'm not sure. Our product range is better, and I get along really well with all of them. So, I don't know. I'm worried that if I don't get them over soon, I might lose them.
We'll come back to that a little bit later. Is there anything else you're doing for prospecting?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, now we know the current situation. So let's move on to options.
Okay.
Let's start with client referrals. You mentioned that you haven't asked your new clients for referrals. What could you do about that?
Well, like I said before, it hasn't been that long, so I don't really feel comfortable asking them.
Were they happy with your service and experience?
Absolutely. I really promote the UBS client experience, and the clients like it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When was the last time you had a really good experience as a customer?
Let's see. Oh, that's easy. Last week I went to this new restaurant. I was just down the road, and the food was great. But what made it a really good experience was, well, the next day the restaurant called me and told me that they had overcharged me on my bill. And they apologized, and they said they would refund me the excess. And I didn't even know. I didn't even realize. So they could have said nothing, and I wouldn't have known. So that was good. And they even sent me a voucher saying that I could, come in for a free bottle of wine when I next dined there. So it was great.
Wow. So based on this experience, would you recommend the restaurant to your friends, even though you only went there one time?
Yes, definitely. I was very impressed.
So if your new clients were impressed with what you provided them, would they be happy to recommend you to their friends?
Oh, okay, I see your point. So even if they're new, there's always an opportunity for referrals, right?
That's right, but you have to ask. So what would you do here?
Well, like you said, I'll have to ask. So that's the first thing I'll do. I'll give them a call. I have a business trip that's coming up in about 2 weeks, and I'll be seeing a few of them. So that's definitely going to be on my agenda. And I'm sure there'll be a few quick wins there.
I think you're right. Let's move on to the 12 clients that you're trying to move across from your old bank. What can you do to help here?
How about if you come with me on joint calls? If the boss is there, it usually gives the client a good feeling.
Can you be more specific?
Well, if you're there, it really shows the client that they are important to us. If the boss is there, it can help build the relationship that I already have with my clients. The other benefit is that you can observe me while I'm at the meeting to let me know if there's anything I can do better.
Okay, let's include this as an option. What else can we do?
What do you think of involving P&S consulting?
Go on.
Well, I've been focusing on the core satellite approach for 8 of these prospects because I think it's a unique product with UBS and it's a great fit for them. So having a P&S consultant come along as a product expert could give some added credibility and, boost the confidence of the clients, right?
I think this is a good option. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay, let's move on to events. You said that you invite everyone on your prospect list. How do you know if they're all interested?
Well, in the past, I assumed they'd all be interested, but that's probably a wrong assumption because my take-up rate's only 10%.
So what could you do differently?
I'll need to profile my prospects better.
How would you do that?
I could find out what specific topics interest them and make sure they are only invited to those events that match their interests.
What else could you do?
Debbie has a lot of success with events. She always has the most people attending, so I could ask her what she does.
I like this idea. I know one thing that Debbie has success with is she asks her prospects to invite up to 5 guests. Could this work for you?
Yes, sure, that's a great idea. I know my friends share similar interests with me, so that makes sense. I've got an idea. We could ask Debbie to give a talk, about events and share her secrets of success with us at our next sales and acquisition meeting. We could really benefit from that, don't you think?
I have a coaching session with her tomorrow. I'll put it on the agenda. What else can you think of?
I can't think of anything else. Any ideas?
Think about it a bit more, Amy. I'd really like to hear your ideas first.
How about the guys from investment banking? They're always doing corporate finance deals like IPOs, right?
Tell me more.
Well, I'm not aware of anyone else on our team who's getting referrals from them, so there could be an opportunity there.
What else could you do here?
My friend Angela works as an analyst at IB, and she could put me in contact with the right people. She's very outgoing, very friendly, she knows everyone. So I'm meeting her for lunch next week so I can ask her.
That's great. What other options do you have?
I can't think of anything else. So you're going to share your ideas now?
Well, one thing you haven't mentioned is the UBPs for prospect management. Is there a reason for that?
Well, to be honest, I haven't had much time to look at those.
I must admit, it's difficult finding the time. But there's really good tips on the website. Go check it out.
Okay. My client meeting tomorrow has been cancelled, so I'll use the time that's blocked out for that to do it then.
Excellent. You've come up with some good options, Amy.
Thanks.
Let's recap. There's generating referrals through your newer clients. There's using me and P&S Consulting to help move your old clients across to UBS. And there's getting more people to events and having a more targeted approach. How's that? Have I covered everything?
Almost. I'll have to ask Angela about getting a contact in IB when I meet her for lunch next week. You said you'll speak to Debbie about organizing a talk about events at the next sales and acquisition meeting.
Yes.
And I'll have to review the UBPs tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, good pickup. All right, let's move on. We've got 3 options that we need actions for. So how do you want to approach this?
I'll focus on the option that will give the best results first.
All right, so what's your top priority?
Well, definitely client referrals. I'm always getting good results there, and I've got 17 existing relationships I haven't approached yet, and they're just waiting to be contacted.
Okay, so what's your time frame for contacting those clients?
Oh, I can contact them this afternoon.
How confident are you that you can contact all 17 clients this afternoon?
Good point. I'm getting too eager.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but we want to make sure that your actions are achievable. Remember the SMART acronym? Specific, measurable, achievable.
Realistic, and time-related. Right. Okay, got it. Let's see. Today's Monday, and I'll be in office the whole week. So if I contact, say, 5 clients a day, I should be able to get through all of them by the end of the week. All right, I'll set aside an hour every day to make those calls.
Great. So how many referrals are you aiming for?
At least 1 referral per client. From my experience, some clients refer as many as 3 and some not at all. So 17 sounds realistic.
Okay, what's next?
Events. There's 2 coming up over the next few months, and the next one is in 6 weeks' time. And I want to make sure that I invite the right people. And also use Debbie's idea of asking my prospects to bring along some friends.
So what's your first step?
Finding out what topics my prospects are interested in.
And how are you going to do that?
Okay, that's a tough one, because I'll need the information within the next 2 weeks. And I've already got a lot on my plate, so I don't know how I'm going to find the time to call all of them.
Well, what else could you do instead of phoning them?
Well, I have all my prospects' email addresses scanned in from their business cards. So I could email them a list of topics and ask them to mark out their preferences and just email them back to me. In fact, I could ask my CAA to do that because she's really good at communications. So I just need to brief her tomorrow morning.
What's next?
Getting my old clients across to UBS.
So what's your action plan?
I'll need to check your availability and book the appointments.
Okay, I'll check my diary at the end of our session. But can I ask, would prioritizing these prospects help?
I don't think so. They're all good prospects.
But you mentioned that 8 of the prospects would be a good fit for core satellite. So would focusing on those clients first have any benefit?
Actually, you're right. I'd get the net new money as well as a good ROA. And I can get Paul from P&S Consulting to help with the pitch.
So, what are your next steps?
I'll check Paul's availability and book the appointments with my clients.
And when would you do that by?
Let's see. Oh, Paul's going to be at the next sales and acquisition meeting next Friday, so I can finalize it with him then.
Sounds good. We've really covered a lot today. You've come up with a lot of really good options and concrete actions. But how confident are you that it's enough to achieve your goal of 22 prospects within the next 2 months?
I'm fairly confident.
Just fairly?
Okay, actually, very confident. I've got 17 prospects from existing clients, and there's the event in 6 weeks, and with my new ideas, I'm aiming for at least 8 prospects from this event. So that makes 25 new prospects already. And then there's the 12 old clients I'm moving across, and I'm confident of getting at least half of them within the next 6 months.
This is a good result. So how do you feel?
Great! You know, I have to admit I was a bit skeptical at first, but now that I have a plan in place to achieve my goal, it feels good.
Just one last thing. Remember to update your CBD coaching log with your agreed actions.
No problem. I've already blocked out some time in my diary to do that after our coaching's over.
Great. I'll see you next week, same day and same time for our next coaching session.
Okay, great. I look forward to it.
Excellent.
So what you doing